Why are fans turning on Colby Covington? Colby Covington, ranked number 3 in the world in the welterweight division, recently fought Leon Edwards for the title, and I gotta say, I'm genuinely pissed off at Colby Covington. Guys, this is coming from a guy who, honestly, in the beginning of fight week, was rooting for Colby to win. I was hoping for it. I was like, man, Colby will bring some excitement to the welterweight division, even though I really didn't think both guys would be good champions. Both guys aren't necessarily super exciting, except Colby with the trash talk, I guess, but also their just styles aren't exciting. They also fight very inactively. So I figured that this was going to be a lose-lose no matter what, but I thought the lesser of two evils was Colby. And after his performance on Saturday night, everybody is turning on him. For good reason, and I'm turning on him too, and I'm here to rant to you guys. I'm here to tell you guys why everybody is turning on Colby Covington. But before I get into it, I'll remind you guys to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. It really helps support the channel, so if you guys could just do that, comment for the algorithm, I appreciate it. And I'll also respond to a lot of you guys. I always try to respond to all the comments. Colby Covington, right, he went against Leon Edwards this past weekend, right, in a 5-round main event, and a lot of people picked Leon going into the matchup, but I was one of the few people that not only picked Colby, but was very confident. This reason being because Colby, if you look at his other fights outside of the Kamaru Usman fight, he's always pushing the pace. He's dominating a lot of these fights. He's going for takedowns. He's relentless. And that was what most people expected from Colby. I think most people expected if Leon were to win, he would have caught him, or maybe that he would just out-technique him. But I don't think a lot of people expected the Colby Covington that showed up. But first, I want to start off with the week. Colby Covington already, before this fight week, already had a tough time because people were already upset that this guy got a title shot. The honest truth is this guy should not have gotten a title shot. The only reason he most likely, in my opinion, got a title shot was because, let's face it, Leon Edwards isn't exactly the biggest name. So I think the UFC looked at this situation like a win-win. Either one, Leon becomes bigger by beating Colby, which seems funny in hindsight now that we know the result, or two, Colby would be champ and he would, start beef with a lot of these guys and promote the fights a lot better. And that is why I think a lot of people look too deep into why, including myself, because I had a bunch of theories. I think it's really just that. It's very simple, and it's just a big name for Leon to knock off to build his resume, to kind of help carry the other contenders that he's gonna have to fight that, let's be honest, don't bring a lot of promo. Already people are upset at Colby Covington. Why is he getting a title shot? He sat around for over a year and a half, almost 2 years at this point, and everybody was saying he doesn't deserve the title shot. And that goes without saying, he obviously did not. It should have went to Belal Muhammad. I mean, first of all, Belal Muhammad, he's put on an impressive win streak, and first of all, there was nobody else really in the welterweight division. It is so funny, before that third Usman fight, Colby Covington's name wasn't even in the conversation. He literally just weighed in, and all of a sudden, he was the #1 contender. Literally, on the Thursday before they fought, if you would have talked about Colby Covington, nobody would have thought, oh, he's next for the title without even fighting. So there was already a lot of hate. Why is Colby getting the title shot? And then we get to fight week, right? And of course, we see Colby Covington's antics. And I think at this point, Colby Covington kind of was an anti-hero. I think he did kind of have a big fan base. I mean, he definitely gained me as, I wouldn't say a fan, but I definitely was liking him a bit more. And it was like, damn, I'm kind of rooting for Colby. This is his third opportunity. And then we get to the press conference, and he said the stuff about Leon's dad, right? And look, was I offended by it? I'm not offended by it. Did I think it was kind of unnecessary? Yeah. And most of all, I just thought it was weak from Colby Covington. Like, I expect more from Colby. Like, usually this guy can make us laugh. Like, I'm not even trying to say, oh, in an offensive way. It just wasn't funny. Like, okay, all you said was that his dad was in hell.
I'm bringing you to 7th layer hell. We'll say what's up to your dad while we're there.
Like, okay, if you made a joke, at least you could say, okay, I'm just making a joke or something like that. It's not even a joke. Like, I don't know. It's like the equivalent of this, right? Like, sometimes I see comments that are just like, oh, you're fat. Guys, I hate to break it to you. Like, I've heard this before. If you guys are going to come up with some creative, you know what? I will appreciate it. They're both hate, but at the end of the day, one of them has more effort, and Colby Covington just didn't have effort. Like, it was just no effort being put into it. He just literally threw it out there after literally accidentally saying 7 layers of hair.
To bring you the 7th layer hair.
I also thought that's why Leon's reaction was kind of, I don't know, I felt like he shouldn't have shown that reaction, because first of all, it's giving Colby Covington the confidence going into the fight, which it didn't really matter at the end, but we're gonna get into that. I don't think that he should have shown that. If I were him, I would have just been like stone-faced, or if it was accidentally, I would have been like, that's all you have, dude. Like, that's literally your comeback. Like, it's a weak comeback, let's be honest. Like, everybody's like, oh, it was so offensive. At the end of the day, if as a comeback itself, it was just bad. Like, it was distasteful, and most of all, it just wasn't funny. So that was more my problem with it, but I'm not offended by it, and I don't blame Leon for being offended, of course. Like, obviously, I think it's fucked up, mostly because, when you're talking about the father, there's people coming out saying, well, Leon's father was a gang member. Nobody's offended because they're like, oh, poor Leon's father, right? I didn't even know he was a gang member, to be honest, but nobody's like, oh, poor Leon's father. We're talking about the people on this earth, like Leon's mom having to hear these comments, Leon's family, Leon himself. Even if you don't care about Leon, you have to think about his other family, and to me, putting it in the forefront of the promotion is just going to constantly remind the Edwards family of what happened. So in my opinion, that's why I just wouldn't have gone for it, but regardless, I'm not here to argue about that, to be honest. My main argument is about the fight night, okay? We get to the fight night, and Colby Covington, this is his third opportunity opportunity. He's 35 years old. You would think, you know what, this is do or die. This is probably my last chance. Let me go for it. The guy brought the president there. He talked all this shit in the build-up. I expected a ruthless Colby Covington. The morning of the fight, man, I was feeling confident. I was like, there is no way Colby's gonna lose this. I thought everybody was delusional. And I still do to a certain extent, because there's a lot of stuff that I do disagree with, because at the end, I'm actually going to defend Colby a little bit, because some of you guys are dragging this to the most extent. But we're gonna get into that, but mostly I'm gonna hate on him, so don't worry. And then we get to the fight, and man, the first minute of the fight, I was completely baffled. Colby Covington is going backwards, and I had told you guys prediction after prediction and breakdown after breakdown. I said to you guys, look, if Colby's going backwards, there's absolutely no chance he's going to win. Leon is going to see those takedowns miles away, and Leon's going to lead the dance, and he's excellent at that. That is when Leon is at his best, when he's leading the dance. You have to push this guy backwards. And for whatever reason, he just didn't and never even tried in the fight. Like, it was pretty rare that we saw Colby Covington ever going backwards, which is so weird. Even at one point, I thought, oh, maybe he broke his foot, because Joe Rogan said he was moving on the foot weird, but he didn't even use that as an excuse at the end. I guess you could say maybe he was trying to hide it and actually not make excuses, but he seemed to make excuses for everything else. But regardless, I think the Colby Covington in there just didn't want to win, and that's my thing, is a lot of people are saying, well, Colby Covington is trash. Guys, here's the thing. I know a lot of people on Twitter are now trashing Colby. They're like, oh, where's the Colby fans now? The reason I think I'm mostly pissed at Colby is because I don't think he's trash. I do think Colby is good. And maybe he couldn't have won the fight at his best. Let's be honest. Maybe if he was going forward, maybe he would have gotten caught anyway. You know, maybe there was a reason he was not going forward. Maybe the power scared him. Maybe it was the speed. I don't know. But maybe he would have lost, right? But he would have done a lot better. And I promise you that, because you look at the 4th and 5th rounds, I thought he won those rounds. 4th round was 50-50 in my opinion, but I thought the 5th round was pretty undebatable. And it's just, that's my problem is, look, if he tried his best out there and lost, came up short, I don't think anybody would hate on him, because there's so many fighters out there that, you know, they come up short, they put in their all in a fight, they leave everything in the octagon and lose. They don't get this, right? If you're showing levels of toughness, if you're showing the heart you have, nobody's going to criticize you. You're going to get respect for that. And we've seen that time and time again. We saw it in both Kamaru Usman's fight with Colby Covington, right? Colby lost both of those fights. And although I thought he won that second one, I was in Madison Square Garden for that second Colby Covington fight. People were cheering for the guy simply because he put on a performance like that, where he stood toe-to-toe with the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, did not give up once, got dropped twice, and came back to win at least 2 rounds. That in and of itself is impressive. And he pushed the pace constantly. He did not give up. And that is why Colby got the respect of not just people in MSG at the time, but the whole world. Because he doesn't give up, right? And he came back, fought Masvidal, and the rest is history. But here's the problem, is nobody is giving Colby credit here, and everybody's hating on him because he didn't try. Colby, at the end of the day, sat there on the edge of the octagon and seemed content with losing a decision, right? Even the 5th round, like, you have to know you were down. You were not this delusional. His corner is telling him, hey, you're doing things wrong. He has to know that he's losing. And what does he do in that 5th round? We don't even see him really try to attempt any arm triangles, any submissions. Even if it's a rush submission, like if you go rush for an armbar, at least you're trying, and maybe you might give up the position, but that's the only chance you have. But Colby didn't want that. Colby wanted it to be a semi-close decision, so afterwards he can get up, raise his hand, and act like he won, which is the biggest clown shit ever, dude. Like, everybody knows you lost. And another thing to consider is, look, he is playing a character. As much as people say he's a terrible person, he could be a terrible person, and I've talked about this in the past. I get saying, okay, you think Colby's a terrible person because you think that fight promotion and money is not worth the things that he's doing, and you think he's taking it too far, and essentially he's selling out, then fine, then I can see that, and I can see that argument. But regardless, look, at the end of the day, he is a promoter, and also we're talking about him. I'm making a video about him. You guys are clicking, you guys are commenting about him, you guys are hating on him. It's only going to make his next fight bigger, so maybe Colby Covington is right. Maybe Colby just doesn't want fans. We've seen it before when he called Brazil a dump. We've seen it time and time again where Colby just doesn't give a shit. He wants to be hated because that's where the money is at. He wants people to tune in to see him lose, and maybe that's just what we're giving him. Like, I don't know, man. Colby might be smarter than all of us. Like, I'm making this video criticizing him, but maybe this is what he wants. He wants people like this to go on the internet criticizing him. I just think that the respect for Colby Covington is down. I'm not going to argue about him being a draw. I'm not going to argue about any of that. The respect, though, is definitely at all-time low, and I think Colby does care about that. Because while people always said, oh, Colby's a terrible person, Colby's an asshole, this and that, people always followed it up with, but he's a really good fighter, but he's very talented, but he would be the welterweight champion if Kamaru Usman wasn't around. But that's gone. I don't think anybody is saying that anymore. People are calling him trash, which I'm going to say once again, I do not think he is trash. I think Colby Covington is very talented. I think that his wrestling is very elite. I think his cardio is very good. Like I said in my last video, if you guys want to go check that out, I talked about the fight a little bit more, but it seems like Colby sometimes gets pressured, and obviously so. I mean, he had the president there and all that. He kind of made it a big spectacle, talked all that shit. Like, he kind of put the pressure on himself. But the reason I wanted to make this video, I was originally going to leave it at yesterday's video where I criticized Colby. The reason is because while I was editing, I was watching the post-fight press conference, as I usually do when I make a video about the pay-per-view, and I was watching it live, and Colby Covington, respect to him, he showed up to the press conference until he had his next call out, which was probably one of the most pathetic call outs I've ever seen.
To me in the media, you know, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, you know, everybody thinks he's a nice guy. He's had a lot to say about me, so I'd love to see him say that to me in the cage.
Picking the most ideal matchup. I love Stephen Thompson, and maybe he could beat Colby. He did better against Shavkat than I think a lot of people expected. Not me, of course, because I picked Thompson like an idiot, but most people thought he would do a lot worse, so maybe there is a chance he could win against Colby. But I'm saying, dude, this is clearly Colby's intention. He's clearly thinking, what's the easiest fight in the division that I can get with the biggest name to get the next title shot? I guarantee you he's going to try to fight Stephen Thompson, and if that fight happens, which it might very well happen, he probably will win and call out Leon for a second fight. And to be honest, he might get that second fight. That's how fucking sad this world is with Colby. While he quite clearly ducks everyone else in the division, is not going to accept any fight other than Wonderboy, he's already ducking Shavkat.
Shavkat Rakhmonov, if the UFC decided to go down that route, is that something you would welcome, fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov next?
You know, it doesn't really make sense.
Don't know how he does it, but whatever, man. Point is, I think respect at the end of the day for Colby is at an all-time low. If you guys want to hear my overall reaction to UFC 296, talking about all the fights, it's on the screen right now. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Seriously, check out the video, comment in the comment section below, and help support me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.